Hey everybody, welcome to Hero Academy with Elagatua. First week with the webcam, so I'm hoping that will make the stream a little more interesting to see my lovely face for the first time. It's not just a ghostly voice in the background. And today is also the Virginia ACC Championship celebration stream. What's up? Go Who's? Just whipped Syracuse today. Super awesome. Very excited about that. But enough about stuff that isn't Hero Academy. Let's get down to it. Game going against Red Monster here, who is throwing a lot of items on the board as fast as possible. It's a pre-scrolled Sorted Archer. Put a bunch of stuff on the knight. Kind of leads me to believe that this is a crystal kill all in. So I think the way I want to handle this is I'm going to put this wizard over here. That way the archer can't come up and get a straight line on the crystal. And if the archer is going to use a scroll on this unupgraded wizard here, then so be it. And then I can also heal all my units in this location. It's pretty weak against two Infernos, because all these units are in the same 3x3 square. But there's also not really any high value units in this midst, and it doesn't have any wizards to really punish me either to do splash damage to clean up, because the two Infernos by themselves won't actually KO any of these units, and the healers can get them up to life pretty quickly. I do need to spend one of these shields, and because he's threatening this gem tile so heavily, I think I want to actually spend it on a knight. It's pretty unusual to spend a shield on the knight, but I just have no archers. I need to turn a card with this last AP, otherwise a crystal kill situation could get out of control. And this is really, it's really important to keep in mind that my crystals still are at 100% health, and I'm worried about the crystal kill. And this, if you wait for the crystal kill to get started before you start defending against it, a lot of times it's too late. So you have to look at the position of the board and say, okay, he's got this knight here, it's very beefy. If he puts it on this crystal tile and then moves his archer forward, he's going to be able to set in motion events that it's going to be difficult for me to deal with, and then preemptively defend. And that way, you nip it in the bud before it starts. And now he's spent this pre-scroll on this archer, and he's probably going to have to use it against a unit that isn't worth the investment of a scroll. And hopefully I'm going to draw either a ninja or an archer here, and of course I get neither. So that's really brutal. But with the sword, I can probably sword like this wizard up here, and try to get going. He could also just be trying to draw for clerics. It's kind of hard to tell, but we'll kind of see how he plays this out from here. So this game is pretty well in hand already. He's out of poisoners, which is a problem. I don't think I can kill this one blade. I can kill it. I actually kind of like this move, because it pulls the shadow will have to move forward and spend an AP moving in order to res this one blade. And if he res it with the shadow, he's going to lose the shield on the one blade. Because units res by the shadow, they lose all their equipment. If he wants to res with a Taoist, then he's got to bring a Taoist, you know, like all the way, probably like on this square or this square, and this Impaler's going to be able to threaten that too. And if I can get one more Taoist, then he's not going to be able to heal the last Taoist, and I should be able to just burn him down with the Impaler from there. Interesting. So, there's one part of this move that I don't like, and that is moving the the demo man up. Generally, if you're going to move a unit off of the deploy tile, it's best if you move it forward instead of onto the other deploy tile, because later on you're going to have to spend another AP moving this demo man forward again if you want to deploy a unit. And so it kind of slows down your deployment options. So my position here, I've got some spies here that are blocking the ranged attacks, and the idea is to get this heavy on the attack tile as quickly as possible. Now he's done a good job here of basically positioning his units in a way where it's not that effective getting this heavy onto the attack tile yet. But I'm threatening it really heavily. And it's all about the attack tile in this matchup, because whoever has the unit on the attack tile is just going to be able to blow everything up. So now I need to figure out how I want to handle this. He's going to have a hard time ever getting this attack tile himself because of this combination of the heavy and the spies. He'd have to lock down like both of these tiles here. It's just really hard to gain that position, and so I want to keep adding threats here. I really want to. I'd really love to threaten this this gem tile here and see what I can do. If only I could get this soldier upgraded, then I could two-shot this scout, which would be pretty nice, because he doesn't have any medics on the board. Something else I could do is get this demo man here. And do something like this, and hope I draw an engineer. But this demo man it's not like a huge threat though, because it really needs to be upgraded, and I'm a little sad that my engineer is like in this corner, because he's not really doing much for me. I could do something like this perhaps, but I can't really move it forward, because if I move forward, then this heavy is going to be able to go onto the attack tile and hit the demo man 3 times, and KO both the spy and the demo man. And then I'm going to have to deal with the demo man on the attack tile, which is going to be unfortunate. So it's a little tricky positioning here. This formation with the spies is really good though. It's really strong. Could do is I could get the soldier here. I could get the heavy out there. I have to hope that I draw an engineer, and I can potentially move the heavy down like here. Because heavy behind the crystal could be pretty good. Like this square is where you want to set. We want to have a threatening unit on this square to threaten the unit on the attack tile. And having the soldier upgraded is very important as well. What I really need is I need some pyros. Pyros would be really good. Another thing that would be really good is... Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. Oh gosh. I don't have to deploy the heavy there though. I could put the medics here, and then I'm hoping I draw like a an engineer to upgrade this soldier. I don't know how I feel about that. But a heavy here. Then if I draw the engineer, then I can move the heavy up here, deploy the engineer, upgrade both, soldier here. That's decent. Pyro, be a pyro. Pyro. Yeah. Well, that's difficult. But he can't really attack me, so it's not all bad. Could be better though. Yeah, so this is a Shaolin versus Shaolin game, and this is what happens when one player has a shadow, and the other player doesn't have a shadow. He has to stomp my units, and from there, I just res them with my shadow. The attack tile, actually, it may even be smarter to just bring my shadow all the way up here, because that way I can res anything, like if he goes up onto that tile there. And I can just keep stealing his units until the end of time. And there's a possibility of just getting my shadow on this tile. His poisoner's still weak. And whatever he stomps with, I'll steal. Yeah, even though I'm out of poisoners, this shadow is just so good. And I've got this sorted Taoist here, which is being a workhorse. You just heal up units to full really quick, and it is very helpful. Because Shell end up trouble healing. Oh well. Yeah, rip Shaman there. I'm pretty far ahead in this game though. Now in a normal world, I would do that, but I'm afraid that he will just kill my Shaman here, and I don't want this to turn into a game where we both have low healing. There's no need for that. I'm in a good position in this game, so I'm just going to play it a little more conventionally, because I've still got these really scary units. Ooh, I like that. I like that. So that kills and stumps the Demo Man. I pull the Axor back. He could kill the Axor with the heavy if he wants, but I'm gonna get the heavy in return. So if he wants to trade an Axor for a heavy, then so be it. But yeah, I got a spy last turn, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, one spy's down. I have tons of offense left. I've got 2 waves and 3 meats, so I'm feeling pretty good about this game. This is the last regular turn. So this is a nice thing. Once he's down to just a shadow, he can't heal his dudes. So I'm going to take his monk off the board, and I'm just going to retreat, and, whoops, oh, I have an extra AP that I have not used yet. I don't think there's... I can just helm this monk. This monk's not going to die. Cool. Okay. Now we've got a bunch of games that I haven't started yet that people have been sending me during the weeks a long time ago that I have been kind of hanging on to. That's an interesting opening. So this is Team Fortress against Dark Elves. So I'm going to play Monster Void Monk strategy. It's my favorite strategy to play as Dark Elves. And the way you play this is you get a Void Monk out on the board really quickly. You get it in advanced position, and you just get up in his face and cause chaos. So I'm getting the priestess out to support. This necromancer could end up going here or here depending on it, but the real thing is I want to get this void monk up in his face as quick as possible, and hopefully I can get him to use a Jarate on this void monk with only the sword, without any other upgrades on there, and then the remaining void monks I'll be able to stack a lot more items on without the threat of the Jarate. This is council against tribe. In a normal draw situation, I would do something like this, and just kill the archer, but I don't know if he's got a cleric behind that, and also I don't have a shaman, so it's not really a sure thing. I'm not sure how I want to do this. Probably put the Axer here, so if he takes the attack tile, it's going to be a 3-shot onto the archer, and I'll be able to stomp it. And then I want to cut off the speed tile here. The best way to cut the speed tile off is actually with this warrior, and then I definitely want to deploy the witch here. Don't want to sword anything yet. Don't know what I'm gonna get this game. Yeah, I'm gonna save the sword for the chieftain here, and the follow-up. We'll kind of see how this one plays out. Okay. Let's get heavy on the attack tile. I'm a little concerned about this because he goes 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. You could get both the spy and the demo man, I think. That would be disappointing. So I may have to play it like that. One thing I could do that I'm trying to set up for here is basically a Crystal Rush, where I send the scout up to the gem tile, and then this demo man comes up here, hits the heavy, and the splash damage hits both of the crystals here. That's something I'm setting up for. And then ideally, I'd get the spy on this square. Although against the heavy, it's not as ideal because the heavy can move here and get melee range on the spy. We'll see how this plays out. It's not really the greatest follow-up draw, but okay. We got an engineer at least. Engineer and soldier, it's not too bad, I guess. This is Shaolin versus Council, so I want to get the ninja out, and I want to put him in the corner. The ninja is the shadow sniper in this matchup. Gotta keep the ninja alive. It's very important, because with a sorted pre-scrolled ninja can take out the shadow in one hit, although the defense tile makes it a little more difficult, because if he gets the shadow on here with a shield, then it's going to take 2 hits even for a sorted pre-scrolled ninja. So that can make things a little more tricky, but it's still the best way to get that shadow down. In a really crappy follow-up draw here. Ooh, that's interesting. Not sure how I want to play this. Yeah, I was afraid it was going to happen like that. If I had a scroll, I would consider messing with this ninja. I wonder if I should do this. This is a little of a weird move, but it might be okay. Because if he stomps this wizard, he actually, well, he could swap, but I'd basically get the ninja in exchange for a wizard here, which would be pretty good. I don't think he can kill this wizard and stomp it and retreat. If he, yeah, it's a good positional play. Although the fact that I'm not turning any cards makes me a little nervous. I'm almost hoping that he'll run up, KO it, and then retreat. Actually, I have no idea what he's going to do, but this puts another unit in front of the crystals, and he seems like he was interested in going after the crystals, so the more units I have in front of crystals, the less dead I'm going to be later on. Rip Taoists. But this is what happens. Wait, can I do something cute here? And save the sword? And it's not quite cute enough. Or is it? No, it might be cute enough. If I do that. There, now his Taoist is dead. Or then his Windblade's dead. And I saved the sword on this Taoist. I like that move. That move's cute. Because he could he can save the Windblade, but he's not going to make any progress into killing these Taoists. And he doesn't have any more healing. Yeah. So this is good. The longer this goes on, the better. So eventually I'm just going to res him. I'm going to res his unit. As soon as I res his guy, it's gone for good, because his shadow's gone, so there's no way for him to get the units back that I've resed. So that's a winning proposition for me in the long run. So it looks like we've got a pretty aggressive archer opening here. The cleric to back up, so see how I want to attack this. I need to be very careful with my shamans, so I'm thinking something like this could be okay. Yeah, because so let's say that he goes forward with the archer. So he's got 1, 2, 3, and that would kill the axe thrower. And then he's probably got to retreat, and I can get the axe thrower back to full in 3 heals. And additionally, it's going to do damage to the archer because of the spike shield. So it's going to be it's inefficient for him to attack the axe thrower. The only way he can make it efficient is by burning an inferno. And using the Inferno on a just a plain axe thrower there negates the possibility of a double Inferno later on. Lots of, even though it's slightly item inefficient for me, it's like a 1 for 2. In the long run, it's advantageous for me if he goes that route. Additionally, I'm getting my Shaman behind the crystal. That makes it really safe from the archers. You always want to be careful of getting in a position where you only have one shaman on the board, because if you lose that first shaman, then you can't lose another shaman or you're down to 1. and if you have one, you can't heal that last shaman without using meat, and it can snowball pretty fast. So it's very important to keep your shamans alive, and so I positioned it here in the back, behind this crystal, to make it very difficult to get to, and that reflects the importance of keeping it alive. I'm not going to do anything crazy like getting it out on the 3rd tile or on the 2nd tile where the archer can come in and snipe it and run away. Interesting. Potions. Interesting. I wasn't expecting that. I don't think it's a bad move. It's just not what I was expecting. Starting to get a little nervous about this whole not having any more units thing. That's a little scary. He's got a lot of offense on the board. And if I get stuck with like a bad hand and he goes for like the crystal kill, it could be hashtag dicey. So I need to be careful. I think just taking a pot shot onto that ninja is acceptable. Because that way, if I sword the wizard, I could take it down in 3. And he also has to respect the possibility if he goes offensive on that. There's not really any brilliant plays to be made here. The fact that I'm not turning any cards here is pretty scary. I wonder if it's worth just getting rid of a potion to trade. Or to turn a card. Because if he burned a potion, he clearly doesn't have any clerics. If I attack twice, if I take this ninja twice, that will definitely shut down any offense. And at least this will turn me another card, because right now my development is just totally short-circuited. And so it's almost like I want to waste the potion, because the longer I go with this hand being dead, the worse it's going to get. And please let me draw an archer or a ninja. Archer. Boom. Okay. Now we're in business. Now we're in business, because now this archer can, I can sort of this archer, stick it right here, behind this crystal, and I'll have a genuine offensive threat on the board, and I'll be able to spend more of these items. Like I've got a bunch of upgrades I can use here. I may even want to move like this cleric up here, move the archer here, and then sort it there and give it the 40% defense on that defense tile. I have a feeling that Oak can resign. Yeah. Yeah, so Oaken's just asking for like a critique of the match. I thought I'll give you my thoughts. Obviously, not all this match was streamed, but if you go back, I did a bunch of videos on Shaolin versus Shaolin a while back. I really talked about this matchup in depth, and there's really 2 keys to playing this matchup well. One is the universal Shaolin rule, just don't lose your shadow. Never trade away your shadow unless you're like literally going to lose the game in the next turn to like a crystal kill or something. In that case, you're dead anyway, so you have nothing to lose by trading away the shadow. But outside of that, you basically, no trade that involves you giving up your shadow is a good trade. You should almost never give it up willingly. Like, every time I've thought like, oh, this will be cute, I'll trade away my shadow to get a big advantage. No, don't do it. Don't do it. It's a trap. You're gonna get beaten. Because every time I think that and I do it, I just end up losing. Because the shadow is so critical to Shaolin. Or the shadow is so critical to Shaolin. So that's rule number one. Second is how you use your dragons. Dragons are the X factor item in this matchup. And you really need to get game-winning damage off with each of your dragons. If you use your dragons and they don't do enough, and they don't really cement you like a game-winning advantage, then you don't have the potential of the dragons anymore. And as Tripp used to say, sometimes the threat is more powerful than the actuality. The potential of using the dragon in a certain situation, if your opponent respects that threat, it's going to limit his plays. There's certain plays that he will not be able to make because he knows that you have a dragon, and so that will not work out. Even if you're not actually using the dragon, the threat of the dragon is providing you an advantage. So if you're going to use the dragon, that's going to give away the threat of using the dragon because you used it. And so you need to get really good value. Well, how much value is the correct amount of value? In my opinion, it's in the Shaolin versus Shaolin matchup, it's a shadow kill of the opponent. That's worthwhile. Or a second Taoist kill is also worth it. Basically, you get your opponent down to one Taoist remaining, and then any damage on the third Taoist can't be healed because it only has one Taoist left. It can't heal itself. So that's a possibility. And then the third option is a +3 unit. But even against a +3 unit, sometimes it's not worth it, especially if it's your last dragon and the shadow's still alive. Because it's just really hard to kill an opponent's shadow without a dragon at all, just because it has so much HP. Like, even the +3, or sorry, even a sorted up poisoner, it takes a lot of hits to bring it down. So if you're down to like your last dragon, you're like, oh, I can kill this +3 unit with my last dragon, but his shadow's still alive. Unless it's like his last poisoner, it's probably not worth it. And I know in this game, I think you used your dragons and you got like decent trades. Like, you got unit advantages off of it, but they were like, I think they're mostly like +0 units that you got. So basically, you didn't get enough damage out of them. And if you see how I use my dragons in this game, one of my dragons got your shadow, and the other dragon, forget exactly how I used it. I think I got a +3 unit out of it. I don't remember exactly, but you can see I got a lot more value out of my dragons than you did. And that was the main difference, because as far as like the unit for unit trades, like, it went pretty even. Like, your game plan wasn't bad at all. You got a good board position on the board. Your formations were good. Like, the poisoners were in the right spots, the woodblades were in the right spots, the Taoists were in the right spots for the most part. Although I got better position with one on the sword tile, but I mean, it wasn't like it wasn't what decided the game. What decided the game was how you used the dragons, and then you lost your shadow. So so that's my feedback on this one. Okay, so So now that we've closed the door on that game, let's take a look here. Rip Priestess. How many do I have left? Oh, we have 2 left. That's fine. So, in this game, I've got all the Impalers down. So this game is going really well. Impalers are the key to Dark Elf versus Dark Elf. Rule of thumb, Dark Elf versus Dark Elf, whoever swords the most Impalers will win. That's the rule of thumb, except, and this is a big exception, if the opponent, or if you can get 2 Void Monks, if you can get their health raised above 10,080, so that means, or sorry, above 1,080, not 10,000, that'd be a little crazy. If you get 2 Void Monks, health buffed, above 1085 or above, then it's worth it to sword the Void Monks. In that situation, and in no other situation, is it okay to sword anything other than Void Monks or Impalers. And you'll see that I, of course, have violated this rule, because I sworded a Necromancer. The reason I did that is because I had no choice. Because he brought a Impaler, like, down here, and the only way... I had a really bad draw, and that was, like, my only option. So I had to violate my own rule here. But it wasn't because that was my game plan. It was a desperation play, and it actually worked out for me. I've got a big lead in this game, thanks to this Necromancer. But this is not Plan A here. Plan A is sword your Impalers. And so now that this game has stabilized a lot, I can go back to. I can go back to Plan A, and now I can get this Impaler out on the board. I'm gonna helmet. I'm probably gonna add a Soulstone to it as well, but the reason I'm helming it instead of Soulstoning it, or yeah, it is Soulstone. I always thought it was a Soul Gem. Am I crazy? Has it always been a Soulstone? Interesting. The reason I'm helming it instead of Soul Gemming is if he used a sword on this Necromancer and scrolled, he could get the Impaler if it did not have the helm. But now with the helm, there's no way for him. He can KO it with a scroll and a sword, I believe. But then he's risking, if I have either these Soul Bombs or one of the Impalers, if I draw any of those in the next 3 cards, then that's gonna be a gigantic waste. I don't think he'll risk that. That would be a really, really gamble. Like a really big gamble with really poor odds. And he doesn't know that I don't even already have one of those items. And I didn't draw one, so if he wanted to play really crazy, he could do that. But even if he does do that, I will be able to trade sword for sword. With this Necromancer backing it up. So if he were to like sword scroll kill this Impaler, I would just take the Necro back, and okay, we'd trade sword for sword and scroll for helm. So it'd still be okay. Come on. Come on, Hero Academy. There we go. Wow, a second potion. What? What is this? Sorry, I find this very confusing. Is he trying to set up like kills on the clerics? That's the only thing I can think of, is if he's trying to set up a kill on the clerics. Basically go here, hit twice, and then scroll kill this cleric. That is the only thing I can think of that makes sense for this move. And there's a really good solution to that play. And that's just to put an archer there. And that will end that threat. I'm just trying to run through the possibilities because the ninja could do some swap shenanigans with this archer back here. He could go here and then swap these two and then hit my archer and stomp my archer and then swap back or something. And since he uses second potion, I don't think anything like that can work because he'll end up losing the ninja or the archer no matter what in exchange for my +2 archer. So it would end up being more, it would basically be a guaranteed even trade for me, which is okay considering the state of my draw. So if he wants to do some crazy shenanigans like that, then I think I'm okay with it. I'm really hoping for a scroll. Good. Scroll, archer, perfect. Perfect. Really good position now in this game. It's a little dicey at first, but I've sustained through it. Let's get another game going with Oaken here. Oh, goody. So I'm going to be really aggressive in taking this defense tile with the shadow. Gives me 40% physical defense, and it's just a great deterrent against this attack tile here. And also he's got this archer down here, so this is the safest area of the board for me. And I'm going to put the poisoner here behind it just to discourage him from doing any crazy shenanigans where he takes my attack tile or something. Also keeps the poisoner safe. Makes this attack tile not safe because the poisoner is one square from being in there.
Did you know that a young boy drowned the year before those two others were killed? The counselors weren't paying any attention.
I was really hoping for some Taoist there. Okay, I need to get some water real quick, so I'm going to take a quick break, and then I'll be right back.